Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Stop. Don't scroll past this, because this conversation might be the one you didn't know you needed to hear. My name's Erick, and I'm the host of Raw Minds, and this show's about truth most people avoid. Not the highlight reels, not the fake motivation, real life. Addiction, pain, losing yourself, and what it actually takes to rebuild while everyone's falling apart. Because right now, there are people listening to this who feel stuck, and like they're drowning quietly and nobody's around, or even around that even they know that they're going through that. And that's exactly why I've been building something behind the scenes, and it's called the Legacy Method. It just hit Google Play stores and is in testing mode, and it's close. This is not some basic app. It's a full system, daily structures, step-by-step routines, workouts, meal plans, breath work, journaling, an AI coach that pushes you and keeps you accountable. And most importantly, it gives you something to follow when your mind's all over the place. Because when life gets heavy, you don't rise to motivation, you fail to the system. And today's guest, she's living that reality every single day. She's worked inside sober living homes, helping people build their lives from the ground up. She's stepping into becoming a substance abuse counselor, leading in recovery communities, and helping create real structures for people who are trying to stay alive and stay clean. Not talking about it, she's doing it. And behind all of that, there's a story, a real one. So today we're getting into it. What rock bottom actually looks like, why most people relapse, and what really takes to build the life that doesn't fall apart again. If you ever felt lost, stuck, or like you're trying to fight your way back alone, stay right here. And if it hits you, share it, follow out the show, and be part of this, because someone you know needs to this conversation. Karyn, let's get started. Thank you for joining, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, my name is Karyn, and I am the director of Eau Claire Sober Living. I do admissions. I am the team lead of 4 sober homes, 2 men, 2 women, and we also just opened 2 transitional homes, one for men and one for women. So we can create a pathway towards long-term recovery and stability in our community. Right now, we're based in the Eau Claire area, and that's actually the community that I recovered in. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
So it's almost like a full circle. So you're giving back, which is amazing,
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I do want to say, I have the links here. Can you tell where people can find your information, or where they want to check you guys out?
Yeah, so we are small right now, but growing. So right now we do have a website. It's www.ecsoberliving.com. We also have a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ecsoberliving.
Perfect. And so I like to start off by like telling the journey and like, who are you, and what got you to the place that you built, and what is it called? The two new
Transitional
sober
homes.
transitional homes. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the transitional home. Yeah. So please tell us, like, how did you get there? Like, what was your story, if you don't mind? Like, who are you?
Yeah. So I was a pretty lonely child, and I was actually raised in a family that was unconventional and didn't have any men in it, actually. So I didn't even really realize that, there's a regular family structure, like there should be a father and there should be a mother. I really didn't have very much experience with men until I was probably in my teens, of course, dating for the first time. And I actually got married very young. We had twin girls, and one of them passed away. I spent a
Oh, my
lot of
condolences.
time fighting CPS, because when a child dies in the home, they take your surviving child until they can do an autopsy, which takes months. It's not like CSI.
Really?
My child was ruled a SIDS death, and that was really overwhelming for an 18-year-old girl and her husband. It really taught me really early on to turn off all my feelings and just keep doing the next right thing, so that way I could be a mother to my child. After about a year, I got pregnant again, and that baby lived for about 16 days before she also died of SIDS. That
I'm
led
so
to
sorry.
my divorce, which was not fun. It actually ended in domestic violence. And I ended up subsequently getting into this really toxic relationship, which ended up after 5 years, me giving birth to two more children who were healthy. The father of my younger two children actually introduced me to methamphetamine, and he did so at a time after he got our children taken away. So I had literally lost everything just so quickly. And I really didn't know what hit me. I was raised in a church too. So, like, all of this was so new to me. It was not new to him. He was kind of born into that life. And I
Mhm.
really like to root for the underdog. So
Mhm.
I kind of put that into a relationship. Finally, when he ended up being revoked off his probation, went to prison. There was only so many people to comfort me, and it was people in that lifestyle. And there's only one
Mhm.
way they really know how to make you feel better, and that is to give you drugs. I ended up in a really particular situation, which was uncommon for my area. I don't know about anywhere else. I only know about the Eau Claire area, but mostly in order to feed my addiction, I started dealing drugs. And that was the fastest way I knew how to supply my habit without selling my body or doing anything super crazy illegal.
Mhm.
It seemed like the lesser of evils, but I think as time went on, it became really dangerous for me. I was
Especially
really
as a woman in that, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
like, I don't wanna be sexist, but it's really a man-dominated area, I guess you could say,
yeah.
right?
It is, and I was 120 pounds wet, running around,
Yeah,
kinda doing a man's job. I got
yeah.
this really man-like mentality, but I was really damaged at the time. I ran around with a lot of people who were doing a lot of things. I had a lot of aggressive, violent behaviors just because that was created as a norm for me in that society. I was out there for 10 years. I went to jail more times than you can count. I couldn't even tell you how many times. I did 3 prison stays,
Oh,
not
wow.
very long. The first one was only 9 months. And I did treatment while I was in prison, but that did not stick. I went back to the same thing. The second time I got out after 10 months, but it was COVID. So I couldn't get a
Mm,
job. I couldn't do anything. And I did have the best of intentions, but I really only knew how to make money one way after so long, and it was to do the exact same thing I was doing. I ended up becoming a really, unfortunately, infamous name in my community. I graced the newspapers about a total of 5 times. Not that I'm proud of it or anything, but it was quite embarrassing. And it created this mentality that I really didn't have an option. This is all that I had, you know?
kinda getting
Um,
pushed into a corner almost.
and So I really dedicated my life to that. And I became very institutionalized. It didn't bother me to go to prison or jail or any of that because they're doing the same things within those walls that I was doing on the streets. I ended up actually getting to my rock
Well,
bottom.
when you were in jail, were you using as well in there too? Like,
The
or were you
first
trying to stay clean in there?
Yeah, the first 2 times, yes. Before my 3rd prison stay, I had actually hit my rock bottom, and actually, I had gotten to a point where getting high wasn't really fun for me anymore. I actually
Mhm.
remember getting in a domestic with my partner at the time, and in order to make me feel better, he tried to give me drugs. And I remember just thinking, as I was looking at him, I was like, "You know, if I do that, that's not gonna make anything feel better." That's not gonna change anything. I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and I could die. I could, I mean, go to federal prison. I don't know how many times the police threatened me with federal prison. I mean, I was doing so many things that I wouldn't have dreamed of doing as this 10-year-old little girl in church. I
Mhm.
was robbing
Yeah.
banks. I was pulling ATMs out of the ground. I was doing so many things that I just couldn't even. You'd see, there's many people who meet me now and they'll hear parts of my story and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that was you." That's
Mm.
so crazy. Actually, sometimes when I tell my story, I bring my last mugshot with me to show them the difference because it's so night and day.
Really?
Yeah, you can't even
Really?
tell it's me, really.
Crazy.
So I ended up hitting my rock bottom while I was out on the streets in that moment that I had discussed, and I couldn't
And
turn
this is
my
while you have kids, right? Your
yeah.
kids are yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, and the more I was away from my children, the more that I used, and the more that I used, the more I
Mhm.
didn't wanna be around my children because I didn't want them to see me high. So it was
Yeah,
just a
vicious
vicious
cycle.
cycle. Yeah, until I had no contact at all. As I was on my way to prison for the third time, I had this moment with my youngest daughter where I went to the doctor with her, and I was so unpresent in her life that when they said her name in the doctor and it was my father's last name, she literally started crying because she wanted to be a Hanson. She wanted to be within that
Wow.
family. And that was so powerful for me. I think it was one of the things that made me realize that I had to let go for my children's own health and safety and to really like face my consequences. I ended up adopting the two out to that family because they deserved a place where they belonged,
What
where
a
they knew.
I'm just getting like goose because I have a little daughter, right? And like I can't imagine. I mean, like I think it was the right thing that you did, definitely
Mhm.
because of the space that you were in.
Yeah.
But the mindset of like knowing, handing over your kids, your blood, like
Mhm.
wow,
Yeah.
like I want to give you props for that. I just want to say like I'm proud of you. Like that's a hard step to do, but you know what? You gave these kids a beautiful life.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just that's
It
hard.
was the hardest thing I probably ever did in my life is
Yeah.
to sign those papers voluntarily. The state didn't take them from me. I made that choice based upon the fact that I was on my way to prison and they deserved a home now. And their father was never going to provide one. So
Yeah.
they're wonderful now. Sorry, my dog just hopped up.
No, you're good.
They're wonderful now. We're not allowed to have contact because the adoption papers were signed. They kind of skip state with them, but I do kind of check in on the parents' Facebook,
Yeah.
and they're so healthy and they're beautiful. And there's all these beautiful pictures of them at Disneyland and just having the time of their lives. And like I'm secure in that
Mhm.
decision that I made so long ago.
That's
It was
beautiful.
for the best.
That's beautiful. And you know what though? It's who knows? Like I mean, there's lots of time to reach out. You know what I mean? Eventually, you know what I mean? So I mean,
Yes.
it's okay. So, but I just want to say, like, I that's so strong of you to do that, and I commend you. I just want to say I commend you. And I amazing for that.
So I obviously have this motherly instinct that was unsatisfied. And I have my oldest daughter, Elizabeth. She's actually 16 now. But at the time, I thought I would never see her because she was with my ex-husband. So really, I didn't really care how long I went to prison. And I ended up pleading to a deal of 5 years in because I didn't have anything out here anyway. But when I went in, I had this beautiful lady meet me in the Dunn County Jail in Menominee, Wisconsin. And she heard some of my story and she looked at me and she was like, you're going to be in here for a really long time. You really messed up. So if you want to work on the things that are really holding you back, you just let me know. We'll find a packet, we'll find a course, we'll figure it out. And just like that one person believing in me after everyone in this community thought I was the biggest dirtball. Like I really needed that. Like she really sparked something in me. And for 9 months before I went to prison, that's what I did. I went to treatment voluntarily all day and every day. And it got to the point where I would help facilitate groups with her because I was there so long. But it kind of foreshadowed my future actually, because I ended up sharing deeply to inspire some of the other girls in the groups to share as well. I actually still to this day go back to that jail to speak to their inmates, which is awesome.
That is cool.
It's super full circle.
Yeah.
Every time I go there, I always tell whoever's with me, I'm like, that's where it started right there. So I did end up going to prison for the third time. And this time I did it right. I didn't do drugs. I kind of stayed away from the riffraff. I got a full-time job, which is something like that seems like ordinary for people. But for me, I hadn't worked in 10 years. I ran the kitchen making 30 cents an hour. Believe that. And I learned how to work as a team. And I learned as a manager of that kitchen how to manage a group and also to support others. I ended up trying to pass the time because I had a longer sentence and couldn't qualify for treatment yet. So I went to college and that was awesome. I'd never graduated college before, but I did in prison. I went for CNC maintenance, which was cool because my dream was to avoid people altogether. That was going to be the plan. I was going to sit in front of a button all day and cut metal and make a bunch of money and never talk to anyone again. That's obviously not what happened.
Mhm. You're talking to everybody now, you know?
I ended up going to their earned release program, which is pretty much inpatient treatment for 4 months. And, it's kind of something to be said when you're in a room full of people in treatment and you're the only one that's buying it. So,
Mm,
I had kind of a negative experience where I was the only one really truly working on myself. And it was so evident
mhm,
and discouraging. When I went to leave, they were setting up my release plan, and I was actually terrified to come back to this community. I really didn't feel like I could recover here. And so
just
I
'cause you
approached,
think you'll get pulled back in from,
yeah,
like, acquaintances and stuff like that?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There was a time when I couldn't even walk down the street without somebody running my name to check for warrants. It was that bad.
Mm,
Everybody knew me, and it was terrifying. And I wanted a clean slate. That's what you want in recovery. You don't want to be judged for your
mhm.
past. Like, there's so much shame and guilt and things involved with that. Like, isn't a clean slate the most beautiful thing you can offer somebody?
Mhm. And when you do, like, when you do the big like, the steps, right,
Hmm.
and then you forgive and the people that you hurt, you forgive those ones, right? Not and it's and so people that are close to you that that see you doing these, right, and they see the
Yeah.
change, but it's not the community that's
Hmm.
they just probably saw
Yeah.
I mean, you showed them, I'll tell you that,
I
so
tell you what. Um, Yeah, and that's kind of what scares me too is the stigma. Like that was a huge
Mhm.
worry of mine. And I'm going to tell you, like every worry I had when I was about to release from prison, that's what I fight today in my career. Like, cause I know what it's like to be that person. And it's so frightening. I ended up applying to every TLP house and sober house in Wisconsin, except for Eau Claire. I refused to come here. And, my parole agent had a different plan and she gave me an application to Eau Claire Sober Living. Now, she told me that all I had to do was go to the interview. And if they told me no, then we would look at other options. My boss at the time, there was no position for me. Like there was no me. It was just her as the owner doing all the applications. And I
Okay.
got in this phone conversation with her, and my counselor was gone. So it was just me and her. And I tried like hell for an hour to convince her not to let me come there. I told her right away, I was just like, I just need you to deny me, please. I can't recover there. And she asked me why. And I told her every single reason why I could never recover in that community. And the next day they told me I was accepted into Eau Claire Sober Living. I was so angry. I ended up taking a 5-hour bus trip back to Eau Claire, and I was terrified the whole time. Actually, when I got off the bus, I puked everywhere like a
Oh,
pansy.
wow. And from anxiety and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was so
Yeah.
scared. I like to act tough, but I was absolutely
Mm.
mortified. But when I walked into that house, it was actually programming night. So all the
Can I
houses.
actually ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Were would you find that you were more scared when you went to jail or more scared when you went to the sober living
I was more scared to go back to the community. I didn't really care about
community?
the
Yeah.
sober living. I was
Not the
afraid.
community, sorry, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, to the community and stuff. So you would say that was scary because you knew deep down that there could be a chance, you could be pulled in or something or yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Scariest moment of my life was that 5-hour bus ride.
Crazy.
Yeah, and, I remember walking into the house for the first time, and there was no male sober homes at the time. There was only 2 women sober homes, and I was the last one to fill the house. So there was 18 women waiting for me at the door. Michelle, the owner, and her partner who does our peer support, Robert, and every single person there welcomed me home. Like, I hadn't had a home in a really long time. Not since I lost my
Mhm.
kids, and so that was really impactful for them to all wrap their arms
Definitely.
around me and just welcome me like that. Like, they don't know me. Addiction's so
Mhm.
isolating. Like, nobody does that when you're out
Yeah.
on the streets dealing drugs.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They wanna steal your shit,
Mhm.
not welcome you
Yeah.
and be you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely.
Well, even in the prison
Crazy.
system, you're not allowed to touch. There is no physical touch allowed. Like if they see you touching, like it's a big deal. You'll go to seg. So all of a sudden I had 18 people, well, 20 people hugging me. And it was
Yeah, so
wild.
you're used to them. You're like,
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?" Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So my
Okay.
plan to avoid people altogether didn't really work out. And I
Mhm.
just was in there to meet the requirements. They told me 90 days. That's all I had to do, and I could do whatever I wanted. As part of the program, I had to meet with peer support. And this is kind of where my life really changed. Our peer support specialist, his name is Robert Goodland, and that man saved my life and is the father I never had. I went in there like the punk that I was, and I sat down and I looked him right in the eye and I was like, I don't have any feelings. We're not going to have some kumbaya moment. I don't trust men. I actually hate you. But I will answer your questions honestly because I have nothing left to be ashamed of after every newspaper article, after everything in this community. Go ahead and ask away. And he did something that has never been done for me before that moment. And it inspired my career as well. He looked at me and he said, me too. I am also a recovering addict. And at the end of the day, if you're not willing to tell me your story, I'm going to tell you mine because I would never ask you to do something I wouldn't be willing to do for you. And he did that. And I've never felt such a closeness to another human being in my life. And it wasn't like sexualized or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Being vulnerable. Yeah,
it was just
I
like
know
this
what you mean.
beautiful vulnerability. And I'd never even had
Mhm.
that from a man before. I didn't even know men could do that. He's very
We
into,
can.
yes, you can. I didn't know that because I had such a
Mhm.
skewed version of men too, because I was running
Mhm.
in a drug dealing world. So
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe this man. So I started doing those meetings and I started doing them wholeheartedly once a week. He became
Oh yeah.
pretty much my diary. I didn't hold back. I said whatever reckless thing came to my mind, and I promise you it got really reckless.
I
And
bet.
yeah, I'm very opinionated and I can say wild things sometimes. And between him and the owner, they loved me regardless of what I said. And it wasn't about the feelings. They always taught me all
Mhm.
feelings are valid, but what are you going to do? That's
Yeah.
what you get to decide. Feelings happen, but
Mhm.
what are you going to do about it? And
Yeah,
I'm a
I love that.
doer. That's my personality type. So I kind of like that. That worked for me.
Mhm.
I very quickly, after 90 days, when I was about to move out, was kind of selected as the house manager. Unbeknownst to me, they were not willing to let me go.
You're
And
stuck here.
yeah, they kept me. They loved me. And I didn't think that anyone would take me seriously. And I went into the interview for that position and I did the same thing I did in my original interview. This is everything that could go wrong and it's not going to work out. And the very next day they hired me. And so I stayed there. And I grew these beautiful, vulnerable moments and relationships with these women. But then I would go to the NA meetings, which was a requirement at the time. And I would see all these men that were homeless or that were in these really crappy situations or still stuck in active addiction. And they didn't have anything like Eau Claire Sober Living. Eventually, after, I don't know, probably about a year, I was pretty seasoned. We decided to open a men's house because I would be sitting there looking at our application list. And regardless of whether we had a men's home or not, there still was rolling in applications for men and we had nowhere to put them. So we bought this historical home from, I believe, the 1860s. And it's huge. It's like a little baby mansion. And it was a real fixer upper. And we didn't know what we were gonna do. But we opened it, but we weren't gonna have any men in the home at first because we wanted to finish it before we moved anyone in.
Mhm.
And man, we would just get those applications where someone would just break your heart and you wanted them to have a safe place. And so we'd make an exception and one would go in, and then two
And
would go in, and then three, and then four. And we
mhm.
just kept shoving them in there and we kept moving them around to different levels of the house. And
So you can fix this while they
yeah,
move there, fix that.
yeah. And, Robert was really the first man I ever had a healthy friendship with. And so I used to joke that I was a man because I had that mentality. And
Mhm.
man, I didn't even know what we were doing. I remember Michelle looking at me and going, what do you think the difference is going to be between the houses? And I was like, I don't know. They're probably tough. That's pretty much it. And I'm going to tell you, for a while, the most sensitivity came out of the men's home.
We got
Yeah.
big hearts,
Yeah, you
we
guys
do, we
do.
really do. We just we keep this shield up because that's what we've been taught for so many years, but, like,
Hmm.
people like yourself, you open up these homes and give men a chance to, express themselves and really
Hmm.
give a safe space for someone for
Yeah.
once in their life, just like how someone gave a safe space for you, so
Yeah.
it's magical. Full
Mm.
circle.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then during that time, because I was so inspired, I decided to go back to college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I remember sitting there with the admin lady, and she goes, "What do you want your major to be?" And I was scrolling through the list, very non-committal.
Mhm.
And I go, "Oh, if there's anything I know about anything about, it's substance use." So I got signed up for the counseling program because I got turned down for the peer support group that was run by the state.
Okay.
At the time, I was managing also group homes for a company called Brodalock, and I really was loving a lot of those more challenging patients. I was really good at de escalation and really just thinking outside the box, getting them to move, getting them out in the community. Um, and I think that prepared me a little bit for some of the challenges that we saw in some of the men. I really feel like there is this shield. So, like with women, when they come into the home, we can usually crack them like an egg within the first 90 days. That seems solid, and we can get some big feelings out of
Mhm.
them. But with men, it's almost like a slow cooker. Like you need to peel back a layer upon layer
Mhm.
upon layer, and you don't get to push or choose the timing on that. That's up to them. And, it's a little bit harder of a battle, I feel like, because you guys are taught to be so tough that it's not safe or that it'll be used
Mhm.
against you. And I mean, I'm such a shameless girl that I never had that mentality. So to see that in men and to see them struggle and know that they are good people underneath all of that, and know, because I've also walked that life, like how do you overcome that shield? How do you chip away at it, Especially when every man is different. That's what really blew my mind.
Takes a lot of trust too, it really is
Mhm.
because it took me a long time to really be who I am today, being able to be on this podcast and express my feelings,
Mhm.
cry, talk about them,
Yeah.
and just be real. It did take
Mhm.
a lot of pain, a lot of
Um,
pain, a lot of lonely nights, a lot of crying. Yes, men do cry, and there's a lot of
mhm.
crying and like really trying to find myself, and realize
Mhm.
that holding all this anger in is no good.
Mhm.
Holding all these feelings in is no good.
Yeah.
It almost killed me, I almost took my life in 2015,
Yeah.
I woke up 2 days later.
Yeah.
That was from me bottling in everything, and then what happened last was, like, it was just the straw that broke, the camel's back or
Yeah.
whatever the saying goes, yeah, but thank God that my friend
Yes.
walked in, and found me. He
Mhm.
walked in just to check up on me, and he found me laying on my bed, so thank God for
Mhm.
him, thank you.
And just like hearing, like, there's very similar stories to yours out there. Like, just
Mhm.
like, we always think men are so tough, and that they were the big dogs on campus. But I think some of the biggest stories of abuse, manipulation, and harm have come from some of the men that I have met within NA or even within the walls of these homes. They're
Mhm.
broken and they are lost
Mhm.
and they just want help. And I think that's beautiful, but they're scared,
Yeah,
especially
I
since
mean,
normally their
well, my
probation agent sends them. So there's
well
also that stigma as well. Like if I mess up
they
or
have
if
to act
I'm,
tough though, right?
yeah,
That's what it is though, they have to act because there's other men around there, so
yeah,
it's all like the peacock, it's like,
yeah,
I can't show my feelings, which then, all of them now it comes into like a vicious cycle usually what happens, and it's like everybody now and it's a testosterone thing, and it's just born into men, I guess it is, to
yeah,
like the competition style, I guess. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
yeah,
I really don't know. I can't explain it, but I mean, and like feeling less like, oh, that guy's gonna see me cry or me about my feelings. Now he's gonna think less of me, and now or whatever, right? And then you get stuck in your head, which is even more vicious, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's the very worst place you can be ever, is stuck in
Mhm.
your own head, right? Some of the hardest conversations you'll ever have in your life is with yourself, in your head. But
Yeah.
those are the ones what grows, and that's how I got out of my depression. I mean, I still fight with it here and there. I'm not perfect, but over the years, you learn tools, you develop these
Mhm.
tools, or you go to programs, or you talk to people, you talk to a counselor, and that's how you learn these tools to be able to adapt and move. Like, you may always have that struggle. I'm not saying you, but I mean, just in general, you may
Mhm.
always have that struggle or whatever, but you use these things to adapt so you can, turn that struggle into your superpower. I have
Mhm.
ADHD, and that's my superpower.
Me too.
I'm doing like yeah, right? So, like, I got a bunch of screens here, I'm doing this on this screen, that on this screen, this on this screen,
Mhm.
like, I'm building things, doing like, you know what I mean? Like, it's my superpower. At the end of the day, it's my superpower,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. And like really just empower like I know how to empower women, right? So like empowering men,
Mhm,
like that was a whole new rodeo for me. But then also like just to know like I always tell people like feelings are like your feeling gauge is like this. It's like a canister, right? And the more you stuff,
mhm,
closer you get to the top. And if you don't empty it, it comes out sideways. Actually, Robert used to tell me, drill that into me.
mhm,
But, I think that was, like, one of the concerns too, because I think it's really common sometimes for me, especially, I really identify with it, but a lot of my overwhelming emotions turn to anger, which is a blanket emotion,
mhm,
and especially with men, and there's testosterone and a couple chemicals that I don't have in my body,
mhm,
it typically leads to violence. And so
mhm.
you are always afraid that there might be a situation like that, but never, not one time. I mean, I've had a few situations where they've got loud with one another, but I've never, they just needed a chance because when they were given
Mhm.
a chance, they valued it. And I'm not going to say everyone valued it perfectly. Our job isn't really to rescue anyone, it's to plant seeds because I'm hoping that
I like
even if
that.
they don't stay, it'll feed their recovery later or they'll come back to us. I
Or
know that.
those roots will go to someone close to them that may be dealing with something like that too,
Yeah.
you never know. It's full
Hmm.
circle, right? It's like, what
Yeah.
is it? The ripple effect,
Yes.
you help one person or you do one good thing, like just walking down the street and smiling at someone.
Hmm.
That person that you smile at may be having the worst day. They may be going back home and painting their
Hmm.
wall with their head. You know what I mean? Like, they could be going back and doing that. And you smiling at them just change their day and change their thoughts. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, just something small like that.
Yes. Well, and in this time too, I ended up reconnecting with my oldest daughter, and that was probably the most terrifying experience of
Magical?
my life. And
No?
she also doesn't really have a good male role model in her life or really
Mm,
people at all because her father ended up choosing to be a different gender while I was in prison. So she comes from
okay.
that and she has a lot of mental health issues because she also survived the same trauma I did and then I wasn't
Mhm.
there for 10 years. So to finally have that relationship and to show her these houses, because she'll come along with me, to show her these communities and these houses that there are healthy people, not just women, but also men. And just like everybody in the community wants to be positive because she was raised in a situation where her father who is trying to transition to be a woman. There's this mentality that the community is distrusting of them or judging or hates them because of their life choices. Like that's I'm not saying that's true. I'm sure it is in some spaces, yes, but that's how she was raised to believe that the community did not love her, did not love her choices, or the only person she had as a support. So when she goes
Was she
out with
groomed
me,
into that? Sorry, was she groomed in that, or that's what she just thought, or, like, from everything
yes, I think she's, really just groomed into that
into
just
that?
because
Yeah,
of
okay. Yeah.
not because anyone told her. I guess it's really just adopting and learning from her other
Environment,
parent.
the
Yeah.
environment. Yeah, that's what I mean,
Mhm.
like, it just in
Yeah.
the environment and stuff like that. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Her, we call, Harley her other parent, when we're respectful about the decision, but, I
Yeah.
think she's really into social media, so I think sometimes we see the worst of the worst when we
Mm,
deep dive we find what we're looking for. when we look for things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that and we find the worst of
Okay.
it. So that's kind of what she has been around, and it has been so beautiful to show her my full circle as well as
Yeah.
introduce her to these people who want nothing more than a second chance and to heal. My
That's
daughter,
so powerful. So
it is.
powerful.
Yes.
And you see their journeys as they're going, and like you being there, seeing
Hmm.
them come in
Hmm.
scared,
Yeah.
like you were scared, not knowing what's going to happen,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
like let's face it, people want to get clean, but they're scared. They're
Yeah.
scared because they don't know how, or they're scared that people like they're just scared. It's the whole process is scary. Let's face
Yeah.
it. So I mean, and then seeing that, and then how they grow is just magical.
It is magical.
Magical.
I could
Yeah, I can
probably be
you're
making.
giving me goosebumps this whole episode, by the way. I've just been getting, like, shivering very good goosebumps, so I just wanted
Yeah.
to say that. But go on, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I could probably be making like twice as much money as I am right now, but this feeds my soul. And it feels like, when I first started this adventure, I had a lot of people die on me that were out in the universe with me while I was really actively using. So I really didn't have anyone when I went to prison or when I got out. But I
Mhm.
always thought when I took this job that I'd put on my superhero cape and I'd prevent everyone from dying and no one would ever OD again. And that was my dream, right? Beautiful, impossible for me to achieve on my own. So I think that I really adopted something from Narcotics Anonymous. My dream became a little more manageable because there was quite a few of our residents that would relapse, but then would hit me up later because we had these intimate moments and
Mhm.
say that certain things that happened in those houses made them feel like they could be sober for the first time. And so
Mhm.
my dream became more manageable in a sense that my dream was to reach the addict that still suffers, period.
Yeah.
I do a
It's
lot of
amazing.
public Yeah, I do a lot of public speaking now. I just spoke at one of the local Alano clubs actually in Dunn County where I started my recovery journey. So,
Cool. How about schools? Schools. I think, schools would make a big impact, but I don't know if they would let you
yeah.
because I know it's kind of.
Yeah. Well, and I'm actually pretty involved in my daughter's life now. But the local school here still holds me accountable for my past. So I am
I
not
hate
allowed
that, you
there.
know what I mean? Get over people's shit, get over your shit. People change. I mean, I used to do a lot of bad things.
Mhm.
I did some bad things, but, I mean, my sister, I'll tell you the truth, she still thinks I'm that same person that I was when I
Yeah.
was 20 years old. But, I mean, some people are like that, and some people are never gonna change, and it's okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who cares? They're not coming to your birthday party, so who gives a shit what people think at the end of the day? That's
Right.
what I say.
That's
You know what I
perfect.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time.
Well, and I think that's part of what I really had to get over in my recovery. And I think that is hard, especially in a place of leadership. I think it's really common that people, when they don't want to work on their own recovery, they will tear somebody else down. And I am
Yep.
not exempt from that. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Especially if you make them feel feelings they're not ready for, where we
Mhm.
lash out. I can't say that
Mhm.
I would be above it if I was in their situation at all. There's many times
We're only
where,
human.
yeah,
We're human.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? I have road rage, like, I'll say it, like, it's one of my biggest things is road
Yeah,
rage. Thank God
me
thank
too.
thank God for everybody that my car broke down, so I can't have it. I'll just be sitting in my car yelling out the window while it's not going anywhere. But I'm saying, like, and but, like, I've learned to, though, deal with it sometimes. I'll stop myself and be like, "Wait a minute, like, maybe this guy's having a bad day."
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Maybe I don't know what's going on with that person's life. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they had someone pass away, or they're lost their job, or who knows
Mhm.
what it could be. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, I'm
I hope
glad
if they won
you're excelling.
millions, give it back to me. I'm
Yeah.
trying to. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I do, like, I do recognize it. Not all
Mhm.
the time, but I mean, I would say a good, like, 75% now, that I recognize it more than I used to. Before it would be like, fuck you, what the hell? Get out of the way. You know? But now it's just like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they're dealing with something. And that's the truth. It really is the truth.
Yeah.
Ask my daughter.
Well, and I am patient and kind for the most part outside of the car, but in the car is when I get to rage a little bit. So I also
Yeah.
struggle with road rage.
Yeah.
It
I
gets
don't know why. But I'm not the type to like get out and like start fighting and stuff. I just
No.
like to like that would be me before. It's like just flip the bird and blah
Yeah.
blah 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 and keep on driving, you know?
Yeah.
Like I actually I lost a friend to road rage. Actually, it was really bad. Guy cut my friend off. I don't really know the full story. Something about the guy cut my friend off, and then my friend high beamed him, and then the guy slammed on his brakes, stopped, got out, and shot him,
Wow, that's wild.
and died, and died
That's wild. I'm so sorry to hear
over
that.
road rage. Shot and died.
That's
Pointless shit. You
yeah.
know, pointless shit. And now this person is taking a life because what? You cut someone off and he high beams you, you know? And
Mhm.
in front of his girlfriend too. Killed him in front of his girlfriend. Just walked up, shot him, walked back in the car and drove away.
Did they ever catch him?
Yeah, they did. I'm not too this is a couple years back. Actually
Mhm.
more than a couple years back. But they did end up catching him because it was off the highway.
Oh.
And like it was in the middle of the night by this tunnel, like a um a veer off of the highway. And like whatever it's called, right? Getting off the highway.
Yeah.
And there's cameras, right? And there's cameras. So there was cameras caught the whole incident, everything, license plate, everything.
Yeah.
So
That's wild. Yeah.
yeah. It's just I mean, yeah, so I try to stay off of road rage, as I said. You know what I mean? It can get dangerous. It's crazy out there, right?
Yeah.
So
It is
then
crazy.
again, yeah.
I'm the
But
best driver out there.
yeah, yeah. So I do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What did addiction take from you personally? Would you say the biggest thing it took from you personally?
Honestly, I know this sounds really cheesy, but probably my soul. I mean,
No, that's
I I didn't care about anything. I didn't even care about myself. I mean, who can care about themselves when they're jamming a needle into their arm? That's not self-love.
yeah,
That's nothing.
no,
Mm.
yeah,
Like I said, sometimes I'll bring my last mugshot with me to speak because
yeah,
it doesn't even look like me. That
yeah.
woman looks literally, people are shocked when they see it. I can tell a lot of people have commented that have known me from the past and have met me in recovery that I have a sober laugh. It's different. I'm sure I laughed when I was out there when I was in active addiction at least once or twice,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's different.
Yeah,
And I see that in a lot of clients too, like when they first come to the house and then when they're there for like 6 months and they got a little something going for them, they got their job
their
and they got a
shoulders
little
drop.
confidence. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's like their
yes,
skin lights up a little bit. It's like they do.
yeah,
It's like they pour their
yeah.
soul back into their
Was
body.
it Stella's got her groove back kind of shit, right?
Yes, yes, we get our groove back and we get
Yeah,
our hope
yeah,
back. And I really think that's what it is.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's like, like you're 100%. Like, do you know The Secret, the book, the movie, all that? You know that? Do you by any chance know that?
No, what?
The Secret, The Secret.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. So it's about putting out good intentions out of the world,
Oh,
like I will get that job. I have that job,
mhm,
and it's about like I
mhm,
have it already. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up. Tomorrow's my payday. I have that job,
mhm.
And it's
Yeah,
about putting those good intentions out of the world. That's what The Secret is.
mhm,
I'm telling you, read the book or watch the movie. The book's obviously better, but The
yeah,
Secret, I'm telling you, it's
yeah,
amazing. But you're putting that out, right? So
mhm,
these men, women that are working on themselves are putting these amazing energy out there.
yeah,
So they an abundance, right? You're gonna get that back too, and you can
mhm,
see them grow. And it's just like I said, it's amazing. I'm getting crazy goosebumps right now. It's just
yeah,
amazing seeing them grow right from your end. Like it's wild,
yeah,
It's wild. That's really
yeah.
cool.
I love the
Well,
growth. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess sometimes it doesn't work out all the time, and I think those are the biggest
No.
heartbreaks of my life because we don't keep them for 30 days like treatment does. We see people stay
Mhm.
anywhere from 6 months to a year, sometimes even longer. You learn to love them. They're your
Yeah.
family. So it
Yeah.
really hurts when they don't do well.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine too, but at the same time, it's really shitty. But I mean, you can take the horse to the
Mm.
water, but you can't make them drink it, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, people got to be ready, right? At the end of the
Mhm.
day, people really have to be and have to want it, And even everybody asks, like, what is your why? What is your why? But it's all about what is your how? How are
Yeah.
you gonna do it? You can have your why, but how are you gonna do it?
Yeah.
The process of how you're gonna get there, right? And yeah,
Actually,
but that
go ahead.
I was just saying, and that's what you're for, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you guys, right? And that's what you guys
Yeah.
are. You're there to show them how to get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and we try to show them as many ways as possible. I think the most original thing about Eau Claire Sober Living is it's not when we have our programming night, it's not just, a bunch of recovery books thrown at you over and over again, like you would see in treatment. I actually plan them with the owner's original idea in mind. We go out into the community and we find anything and everything that will feed your recovery or help you sustain your recovery. So we've done like ice bath challenges. You kind of talked about the cold plunge with me. We've done breath work, we've done yoga. We'll even do basics like financial literacy or nutrition. We've done Nia dancing. That one was really popular with the guys. But, that was just, it was so beautiful. Like everybody was a little uncomfortable, but once, I'll go and I participate in every single one. So if I can get a couple guys that'll crack their little outer shell and get them to participate, it becomes one of the silliest, most playful, fun moments like that you have. We need that joy. We need to play. I don't think many men know how to play at first.
Well, I was just actually talking about this. Was it last podcast? I believe it was the last one. At the end of the day, we're just big kids, and we need to be able to be a kid again. We forget how to be kids. We grow up and we forget to be kids because we got to pay bills and do all these things. But like, we really need to remember that we're just big kids at the end of the day. We were a small little kid. Now we're just a big kid, just with more information. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
and
like,
there's this
have the imagination. Build a fort while with your partner in the living room. Watch a movie. Just be a kid, man. Have fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's this perception, especially with the men, and there's this pressure that they get because they get I think the top maybe 90 days to 6 months worth of funding. 90 days is a little more common, sometimes even as little as 30 days. So instead of playing and focusing on your recovery, sometimes there's this pressure to get a job and work, and get stable and collect and check all these boxes. That's way easier to do, but it's not sustaining. So I'm a slave to that. I'm really good at checking boxes. And now that I'm 4 years clean, I'm finally learning now that I already checked those boxes and there's nothing left except to go up. And I've built this trust in my community and my boss. She's fantastic. And my support team. Now I get to learn how to play and have fun. Actually, there was a man within the William house that taught me how to play. I was so serious when we first opened the men's house because I didn't want anyone to judge me, or I really had the same mentality that most of those men did. There was a very special man there. His name was Taylor, and actually he ended up passing from an overdose.
Rest in peace, Taylor.
Yes, and we actually named our new house after him because he had such a beautiful impact. I remember doing transport for him to go to Rochester, which is a couple hours away. And it was such a vulnerable moment because he could have taken medical transport through Badger Care. And I remember he stopped me outside of the house and he goes, Karyn, I know that I can take MTM, but I don't want to be alone at the doctor. And I was like, okay, I'll go. So we ended up going
That's
together.
a vulnerable moment, just so you know. That's a vulnerable, because that's him without him telling you that he's scared.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was so institutionalized. I had such a bond with him because he reminded me of me when I first got out, just to the T. So institutionalized, so tough, just a jokester, always deflecting with a joke. And honestly, like, I remember having this big trip with him, and he had told me on the way back it was probably the most fun that he had ever had since coming to recovery. And he gave me this big speech like, why don't you share your story more with us? Like, why don't you connect? Why don't you play? And I told him that I was afraid to be unprofessional because I wanted to measure up to this job and I didn't want to let my boss down. And he told me he valued it more that I was a human with him that day, that I was able to connect with him in that space. He pretty much made me Robert him. So that was kind of cool, So
the Robert effect.
yes, yes. It made me realize that I had the Robert effect in me all along, and that was given to me when I first walked into those rooms. And it really gave me a more relaxed state with the men's homes it really humanized them for me because for a while they were like aliens to me because I mean they're a little bit different, but really not really.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
still have
Just when you
feelings.
get through the shell, right? When you get through the shell.
Yeah, this shell's
Yeah.
just different. It's just a little harder, a little
Yeah.
crunchier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he actually took away my last reservation, not my first. Because my life is my story is littered in death. Uh, my last reservation in my recovery was that I wouldn't be able to sustain my recovery if someone important to me passed. And when he passed, I was on the board of the state convention, and I was at the convention, and he was actually supposed to be on his way to the convention to join us, and he never made it. And I was actually surrounded by 600 supportive people within the recovery community. Our entire area that was there, about 15, 20 people, supported me through that whole moment. And we held a moment of silence for him. And then I got to do this thing that I had never done before. I got to grieve in a healthy way, especially with the
Mm.
dynamics of it. He was the first one in my care that I had lost. That sense of responsibility and loss was so overpowering. And it's just, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I had to show up as a family. And that's kind of how we did that within the houses. We were a family and we were going to heal together. The first place
See
that I
that
went was the houses.
that just shows how much though love and care you had for him.
Yeah.
Just that, like, going like grieving with all these people, it just came together, it was
Mhm.
like kind of like magical in a sense, you know what I mean? And
Or
then and then was it him? No, Robert is you didn't name the house. Sorry, it was Tyler. You named the is it
Taylor.
Tyler?
It's Taylor.
Taylor. Okay, sorry. I got mixed up there then. Sorry. I thought also him. But yeah, but like I want to say like, when people grieve hard, that just shows you how much love and how much caring you have for that person. Sorry, my TikTok over here is trying to tell me that I'm not real. And it tries to, yeah, it makes me put a little puzzle piece in. It's like, hey, it gives you like alarms, like, hey, put the puzzle piece in if you're real.
Yeah, I can't believe a
Anyways,
computer can ask you if you're a robot. You're a robot.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, did you see that? There was a deep fake. So this guy, he was a scammer from India,
Mhm,
but he
mhm,
had like this like filter on. And he looked like
mhm.
this white guy. He had a receding hairline. He like office, dressed nice and everything like that.
Wow.
And yeah, and you wouldn't tell, but the guy that was like knew that he was a deep fake. He's like, put your hand in front of your face. Because if he puts his hand in front of his face,
The
then
filter's
the
out.
filter goes away, right? And the guy's like, "Oh, like this," and he's like trying to go like this. And when he reached to go grab his diplomas, he wouldn't change his head. He would just go like this, look the whole time. And he's like, "Oh yeah,
Mhm,
look at the diplomas." Like, put it in front of your face. He's like this, like this, and he's going like
mhm.
he wouldn't do it. And it was a deep fake. So it's crazy. So be careful out there, everybody. You
Yeah.
don't know who is. Don't worry, this is real.
Mhm.
Just letting you know,
This
this is
is
real.
real. I'm real as well.
That's real.
I know it
There.
sounds unbelievable, but I am real.
Yeah. Yes, we are real. We are real. On that note, I just want to say thank you for coming and sharing your story and what you're doing for the community, not just men but women too. It's really beautiful. You gave me so many goosebumps today just from the power from your story and everything. So I just want to say thank you. Like thank you so much for coming out here and sharing your story and just blessing us with all this. Thank you, Karyn. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I know this is like a men's kind of channel, but I think it's great to hear it from both sides and hear like how much men have been healing towards me in such a vulnerable way. They truly inspire me, not just the women. We are all people, all of us.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you again for Raw Minds and everybody. Thank you. And we'll see you on the next one. Take
Yeah.
it easy.
Thank you.
Bye. Perfect. That was awesome. I'm just going to shut.